Hindelang, excuse me, Matt, sorry. Matt Hindelang says, or asks, does the use of laugh tracks annoy you? Being a geek, I could be a target audience for Big Bang Theory, but all I hear is this constant laugh track. Can't its humor stand on its own? I've never liked Seinfeld, but the overuse of the laugh track makes me dislike it even more. They just stick out to me. It's an interesting little hair we're going to split here, but I can't speak about Seinfeld. I'm virtually positive this is the case. I will speak about Cheers because I wrote 4 spec scripts for Cheers. I was at several tapings of Cheers. I was being groomed to write a script for Cheers, and then the show stopped. It was time to go. I worked pretty closely with the writing staff. If you want to say pretty closely, I meant to say I have a couple meetings with them for an hour or two talking about story ideas, and they were very kind to me and the nicest, gracious, lovely people, all of them. I had a friend at college who went on to become executive producer of Cheers named Fief Sutton. And so let me tell you how it works with an actual comedy. Cheers does not have a laugh track. I Love Lucy has a laugh track. Gilligan's Island, you know what? I don't think I Love Lucy had a laugh track, actually. Gilligan's Island, without question, had a laugh track. So let's take Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island has a laugh track. I Dream of Jeannie had a laugh track, and Bewitched had a laugh track. A laugh track, technically speaking, is canned laughter, and it's people and you got all these different variations and tones and levels of laughter. And those shows are shot in a studio with a one-camera setup, and it's like shooting a little movie. And then when it's edited, he says the joke, and Major Nelson says, "Jeannie, I thought I told you to get back in the bottle, but Master, there was vinegar in there." And the laugh track appears. Now, the reason those don't work and seem awful and contrived and terrible is because those were not particularly funny jokes, and the laugh track came in to tell you, to cue you that it's funny. I'm going to get to the point of this in a minute. Cheers, on the other hand, did not have a laugh track. Cheers was shot in front of a live audience, which means that while there was a lot of laughter in Cheers, it wasn't artificial laughter. It wasn't canned laughter. It was actual laughter responding to the actual jokes in real time. And we'll divert a little bit because I always thought this was pretty cool. The modern situation comedy was invented by a man, a really brilliant man. He invented it out of whole cloth. I think he probably did it on some level because he needed to keep the cost down, but the main reason he did it was he understood that the comic genius he was working with was so effective that instead of a canned laugh track like on Leave It to Beaver, for example, he thought that her performance was so good that people would be able to react to it in real time, and furthermore, he knew that her timing was so exquisite that she needed an audience to play off of. And the longer they laughed, the more she could hold an expression and the bigger the laugh would get. And that genius was named Desi Arnaz. Desi Arnaz invented the multi-camera situation comedy film before a live audience. He invented it for I Love Lucy. He realized that Lucille Ball was such a magician in terms of her timing that in order to really get her at her best, he had to put her in front of an audience, and she had to get into that feedback loop that exists between an actor and its audience, or a musician and its audience, or a comic and its audience. And he knew that if he could get her in front of a live crowd, people would laugh, and that laughter would make her better than she would have been, far better, far, far, far better than she would have been if she were just shooting this in a studio like Leave It to Beaver. So Desi Arnaz invented the 4-camera or 3-camera sitcom, and basically it is filmed in front of a live audience, and it's a combination of theater and television. Never been done before, ever. No one had even conceived of it. They had theater plays where people would laugh in real time, and you'd run the show start to finish, boom, 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 it's a play. Little break for scenery, change the furniture, but it's a play. And of course there was television and movies, which is broken down into atoms. We're now going to shoot all the bedroom scenes, then we're going to shoot all of the outdoor scenes, we're going to shoot all of the kitchen scenes, we'll fix it in the editing room, and then when it's edited, when the laughs come up, we'll put canned laughter in there to tell people when to laugh. Desi Arnaz said, no, there's a middle ground here, and we got to find it. And he invented the multicam situation comedy. And it's brilliant. The I Love Lucy, in many ways, it's certainly far older. It's at least 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 years older than Gilligan's Island, but holds up much better than Gilligan's Island. You can still watch I Love Lucy, because even though I Love Lucy was set in the 50s, Lucille Ball is so good. Her timing is so correct. It's so authentic. That's the word. It's real. No one's telling you to laugh by putting in a bigger laugh track and even a bigger one when the second stale joke comes along. I Love Lucy was shot in front of a live audience, and people reacted to her the way we react to her watching TV. Now, the reason there's a laugh track at all, to be honest with you, Matt, is because they've done studies, and you can do it yourself. You can occasionally see it. If you watched Cheers or Big Bang Theory or I Love Lucy, you watch any of these shows and the laugh track isn't there, It's dead as a doorknob. It's just flat. Because now your brain is telling you, not only the purpose of a canned laugh track was to train you to laugh and to tell you something's funny even though you maybe thought it wasn't. Well, everybody's laughing, maybe it's a little funnier. If you run Gilligan's Island without the laugh track, it's like a funeral service, because it's just not that funny. But conversely, if you were to run Cheers or run I Love Lucy or other excellent comedies without the laugh track, you're training your audience not to laugh. That was funny. Well, nobody wants to be the only person laughing in a room, right? You don't want to be, and everybody looks at you. It's an inbred reaction. People don't like to stand out. Social proof is we do what everybody else is doing. Social proof is the greatest single motivator in human psychology. It's what people do. People would rather be doing what other people are doing than conform to their own most deeply held core belief systems, proven time and time again. You may feel like, maybe you think that something, like maybe you should stand for this person on a bus and, but nobody else is standing, so you don't. You follow the herd. It's natural. It's the way it is. So a laugh track is designed to get the social proof on the side of the comedian or on the side of the producers. Even though there was nobody here laughing at the time we shot it, here's a joke. We know it's a joke because it's got an exclamation point at the end of it. Therefore, we're going to put in a big swell of laughter there to teach you that everybody else is laughing. You should be laughing too. Conversely, if you take the laugh track out of a situation that's funny, you want to laugh, but no one else is laughing. You can't hear anybody else laughing, so you don't laugh. So you be quiet, and it's not funny anymore. But the genius was this recorded, it's a technical term for it is usually live to tape. Live to tape, that doesn't make any sense. It makes perfect sense. We're shooting it live, but we do it on tape. Now, when you go to a shooting of a sitcom, which I highly recommend, by the way, what you'll find is they will do the show more or less in sequence, and then they'll get through the scene, then there'll be a break, and I mean a quick break, because you can't let the audience get cold. And by the way, speaking of the audience get cold, before when you go to tape Cheers, you go into a series of bleachers, you and 300 people, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And before the show starts and before the cast comes out, a comedian comes out there and does jokes for half an hour because he wants you loose. It's a warm-up act. He warms you up, gets you used to the idea that you're going to be laughing now. So by the time the show starts, you're already in a good mood, having fun, you're laughing, and so on. So I will give you two more little pieces of interesting information that I thought were interesting to me when I went on the set of Cheers in 89, I guess it was 88, 89, as a invited guest, as a potential writer. The first thing that's interesting was told to me by my friend, the producer of Cheers, Phoebe Sutton. You walk into the room, you walk into the studio, and you see the Cheers bar, and instantly something happens to you. You're just instantly paralyzed in a weird sort of way. It's like, I know this place. I know this place. I watch a show all the time. I know this place. I've been here. I've spent hours and hours and hours of my life in this room, and now I'm actually in the room. It's kind of uncanny. The second thing that hits you is how much smaller it is in the real world. It's just so much smaller. You can't tell you why. It's got to do with camera angles and coverage and so on. But it's like the Cheers set, and it's the Cheers set, but it seems it's like a miniature version of the Cheers set. I never got to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, but I watched so much Johnny Carson growing up, and I guarantee you, if you walked into the Tonight Show, you would be absolutely astonished at how small that Tonight Show set. I bet it looks like it fit in your closet, in your dining room, or your breakfast nook. It's tiny. So there's that. Now, that's all emotional. That just comes from the sensation of seeing what you've seen on TV so many times. But there was an intellectual kick about Cheers, too. You might get a kick out of this. I got a kick out of it. You may or may not know this, but the bar, Sam's Bar in Cheers, I was told, sits on the exact physical spot on the earth that Lucy's living room was on. It's shot on the same soundstage in the same place. So the physical location that I Love Lucy's living room was on is the exact precise physical location that the bar in Cheers was on. Isn't that cool? It's kind of neat. When he told me that, it's like, my God, not only am I seeing this room I've seen a million times on Cheers, if I take away the bar in my mind and I bring in the crummy living room furniture and then the kind of dividing wall fireplace and Lucy's bedroom's over there and the kitchen's over there, yeah, right here, right on that spot. It's kind of cool. But I'm glad I had a chance to shout out to Desi Arnaz because he didn't get any of the credit Lucy gets and deserves so much of the credit. But Desi Arnaz was a genius. He was an actual genius. And he invented it out of whole cloth. And it's one of the great inventions in entertainment history. It allows us to do comedies. So hope that answers it for you, Matt. They don't annoy me. The only time a laugh track annoys me is when it's a laugh track. It's because a laugh track is a lie. A laugh track is, here's a group of people laughing to something else that we've recorded and that we're going to now put in over this lame joke in order to lie to you to make you think it's funnier than it is. But filmed in front of a live audience is not a lie. Now, one final caveat. Many times you'll find there's a hybrid. And the term that's often used for that hybrid, sometimes this term is used just for putting in a laugh track over something that's shot flat, but sometimes it's used as well. It's called sweetening. And sweetening is when, traditionally sweetening would be you have no laughs at all and you put in the laugh track. That used to be called sweetening. I think a better use of the term sweetening would be to say, we're shooting this in front of a live audience. The audience has a laugh, but maybe there's not quite as much punch to that laugh as we want. So we're going to keep that laugh. We're not going to change it. But overlay on top of that, we're going to put in a little more raucous, a little more, belly laugh, a little bit more, just going to sweeten it up a little bit, punch it up. So I wouldn't be surprised if many shows are filmed in front of a live audience and then have the laugh track sweetened a little bit. Contrarily, I wouldn't be surprised if this was some sort of ethical violation, although the idea of ethics in this town is kind of hilarious. A couple more to go, so let's move on.